All right, so when we're talking about emergency versus non-emergency, anchor chart can be used a lot of different ways. You are going to see from several videos that I make that the anchor charts in my videos are very, very simple. I am not an artist in any capacity. My students and I typically play a game called What is That Animal? Where eventually they run guesses and I have to tell them what the animal that I drew was and label it. Okay, we're not worth an artist. My anchor charts tend to look like this, which works really well for the type B teacher world or type C or whatever type you are. This takes 20 seconds. So I talk about living in a state of non-emergency. What would it be like to live in a life where you never had an emergency? I am looking for them to say it would be calm. Some of them will say it'll be boring. It would be whatever. You can have them write them on Post-it notes and just stick them up here like it's a parking lot. I've done that a few years and it works fine. Then we want to start defining the word inconvenience. Okay, and I give a lot of personal examples. And then we do examples and non-examples. I hit a pothole and I was holding my coffee this morning and I got coffee on my jeans. Is that a non-emergency or an inconvenience? It's an inconvenience. My twin sister took my favorite pencil and broke it. Is that an inconvenience or a non-emergency? It's an inconvenience. Okay. I found my favorite chocolate bar sitting on the counter. Is that a non-emergency or an inconvenience? And it's a non-emergency. Okay. And then I want you to have them write down or share in a tabletop talk structure, whichever, however you want to do it, inconveniences in their life. Encourage them to think about inconveniences. We're wanting to brainstorm reality. Sometimes we're in a state of non-emergency. Sometimes we've experienced an inconvenience. And then very rarely, if you're living in a healthy world, which a lot of our kids are not, so you need to keep that in mind, we are up here all the way to the top, okay, with an emergency. An emergency is something that requires the assistance of an adult immediately. Okay, even if an adult is in an emergency, that requires the assistance of another adult immediately. This really helps us out by giving us the framework for having a discussion with kids about safe and unsafe adults, because that will play into our obedience anchor chart that I will share with you in a little bit. Emergency is not an inconvenience. An inconvenience is something that bothers us, that temporarily throws us off of our groove, that we need to be a problem solver and solve the problem of our inconvenience. In an emergency, that is not an option. We are incapacitated. We need help. We do not have the skills that are necessary. All of those things, emergency. Okay? We need to always communicate with our students that an emergency is the time when you come and get the teacher. Okay? If somebody is bleeding, vomiting, losing bodily fluids of any kind, having a seizure, if it looks like a medical thing that you as the child do not know how to handle, it's an emergency. Go get the adult. If you have physical violence happening, even if it's between other students, adult. Stranger walks onto the playground, adult. Emergency. Okay? An emergency is a real, actual event that happens when we have to then go find some assistance, bring it in for us to remain safe or for us to become safe. An emergency is not the same as an inconvenience, okay? And it's not the same thing as a non-emergency. If you're used to seeing a ton of emergencies happen all the time and an adult isn't stepping in for you, you are going to think the emergency is an inconvenience. Or you may think that the inconvenience is an emergency and you're trying to handle both of them by yourself. Negative, ghostwriter. Get them giving some examples, and then you need to tell them what your expectations are for when an emergency happens. It's also a great time to talk about classroom procedures for fire drills, tornado drills, active shooter, all those things. Alrighty, so I hope that helped you, gave you some ideas for some conversations that maybe you wouldn't be typically having with your students, or helping you redefine or refine a conversation you would already have had. There's going to be a lot of content coming your way this week, just because I want to give you guys some ideas to get the year started off with maybe some more open dialogue or some different dialogue than what you've had in your classroom. I hope this helps. Please give me some feedback in the comments. This is my first ever video. I do not expect it to be perfect in any way. So by all means, please let me know what you're thinking. If you have questions for me, or you want to see a specific video or have a specific question you want answered, please let me know. I cannot wait to hear what you guys add to the discussion. We are working in a really tricky time in education, and I know that we can navigate these waters. I have full hope in teachers, and I have great reasons to expect that teachers are going to solve all of these problems. Because even though we talk a lot about administration, we talk a lot about policymakers, they're not the ones that are solving the problems for kids. We're the ones solving the problems for kids. So by all means, please put your thoughts in the comments. Please be kind and respectful. I want this to be a safe place for us to bounce ideas around. I can't wait to see what you have to say. Check out the description box for more information on me.